Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to this Research Policy Day, Forskningspolitiska dagen. I'm arranged by the Swedish Research Council. I'm Sven Stafström, the Director General of the Council. I'm extremely happy to look out over a hall filled of more than 400 people interested in research policy. So the interest in research policy is obviously large, and I think this is very positive for Swedish research and for Swedish society as a whole. With all the experience in research and research policy gathered here, I think the possibility is high for new ideas to pop up from discussions here in this room, as well as outside during lunch and coffee breaks. We hope that you all take this chance, both to learn from others and to contribute with your own ideas. A special welcome to our distinguished guest from abroad, the Dutch Minister for Education, Culture and Research, Ingrid van Engelshoven, the Swiss State Secretary for Education, Research and Innovation, Martina Hariyama, and of course also to the Minister for Higher Education and Research, our Minister, Matilda Ernkrans. A warm welcome to all three of you. To the best of my knowledge, it is the first time this kind of meeting is arranged in Sweden. The Swedish Research Council has the role as advisor to the government on research policy issues, and it is in this capacity that we host this meeting. And the aim is clear: to discuss the directions the research policy should take in order for research to contribute in the best possible way to the development of our society. There are many issues that relate to the subject of this meeting, and I will briefly mention a few of them that I believe are the most important ones here. I'm sure that we will not have the time to cover them all. Some are more urgent and some have to wait. I start with academic freedom, or just freedom. It is an important aspect of a democratic society and should receive unreserved support from policymakers. This, I believe, has to be the first and most important research policy statement. Unfortunately, in some countries, it is not so obvious, which makes it even more important to bring it up and stress it at international meetings. And I know that, for instance, our minister has done that at several occasions, and we are really happy for that. Quality, this aspect is included in the political goal for Swedish research and innovation, which reads: Sweden should be one of the world-leading research and innovation countries, where high-quality research, higher education, and innovation results in societal benefits. The quality aspect is, in my opinion, absolutely central to research and research policy. And so we should ask ourselves, what kind of policy is needed to stimulate research quality? And perhaps we can also ask ourselves, is there a need to give a more precise definition of the term quality? Impact of research is also listed here. Of course, it's extremely important, but impact is, in my opinion, strongly dependent on freedom and quality. Give freedom, ensure quality, this gives impact. But there is, of course, more that can be done to increase the impact of research and research policies. And research policies should be formulated with this in mind. Two other things that strongly relate to research policy are funding and priorities. These are subjects that are in focus right now. And many of us have recently provided our input to the coming research bill. And much of the input is actually focused on these two issues, funding and the priorities. So in terms of funding, how much funding is needed? How should it be distributed between block funding and competitive funding, for instance? There are many such balanced questions that are important aspects of a national research policy. Prioritization, in particular for National Research Council, is also a question of balance between open calls without any specific priority, where the funding decisions are entirely based on quality of the proposals, and directed calls addressing a specific theme or subject or mission. But in general, I would say, when it comes to that part, that the SDGs, the Societal Development Goals, provide a very helpful framework in the context of prioritization. I also add to this list here prerequisites. Infrastructure is one such prerequisite for top-level research. Internationalization is another one. Career paths, ethics, gender balance. There's a long list one can make of what I here refer to as prerequisites for research. I think we have very good discussions in Sweden on all these issues, but we need to do more in all this. To finish off here, I would like to show some data on research quality and funding taken from our Forskningsbarometern that the Swedish Research Council published earlier this year. If you look at the graph, the horizontal axis shows research expenditure at higher education institutions, and the vertical axis share of top 10 citations for a number of selected countries that you see in this graph. Sweden, you see there, one of the red dots is doing very well as concerns the funding. Of course, the governmental funding could be larger, and we are also extremely fortunate in Sweden to have strong private and semi-private funders. We are not doing bad at all as concerns quality and citations, here measured in terms of citations either. But I think we could do better. So again, quality should be central to the discussions here. And we can ask ourselves, have we met the political goal to be one of the world-leading countries? Perhaps not. Once again, if we look at this graph, there are two other red dots, Netherlands and Switzerland. And it's obvious that both these countries are doing better than Sweden in terms of quality indicators. And this is just one way to show quality indicators. If we look, for instance, at ERC grants or how much funding every country gets from the EU framework program, Switzerland and the Netherlands are for sure top countries also in that respect. So this is not just unique for a citation indicator. We hope that the minister and the state secretary will speak later this morning. Who will speak later this morning will tell us why. Is the recipe secret or open accessible? Let me also congratulate Switzerland to the Nobel Prize in Physics this year, 2019. That went to Michael Mayer and Didier Queloz. So 2/3 of that prize went to Switzerland. I had actually a meeting with Didier Queloz last week, and he told me that the observation of exoplanet was actually not intended in the very experiment they did. And I think this is something also we can bring to our minds, that sometimes breakthrough science comes unexpectedly, and that should be a part of research policy as well. So now I would like to hand over the microphone to the moderator of this event. She comes here. So, Elisabeth Sjöstedt. Elisabeth, please.
Thank you very much, Sven. And